The shuttle dropped through clouds that glowed purple and gold. Yuna pressed her face against the window like a child, watching the alien world grow larger beneath her. She had seen pictures of the Galactic Integration Academy, but pictures were nothing compared to the real thing. The buildings rose like crystal towers, catching light from 3 distant suns. Gardens floated in the air between structures, connected by bridges that seemed too thin to hold any weight. She was the first human to ever set foot in this place. The thought made her stomach tight, but she kept her face calm. On Earth, she had learned to hide her feelings. It was a useful skill. The shuttle landed with a soft bump. The door slid open, and warm air rushed in. It smelled like flowers and metal and something else she could not name. Yuna picked up her single bag and stepped out onto the landing platform. Immediately, she felt the stares. There were perhaps 50 beings on the platform. Some were tall and thin, with skin like glass. Others were short and wide, covered in fur of different colors. A few had no solid form at all, just shapes of light that drifted through the air. All of them had stopped what they were doing to look at her. Yuna understood why. Humans were new to the galaxy. Earth had only made contact with alien life 2 years ago. Most species here had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. To them, humans were babies taking their first steps. She also knew what they saw when they looked at her. A small creature, soft skin, no claws, no scales, no natural armor. She stood only 162 centimeters tall and weighed 54 kilograms. Compared to most beings here, she looked like something that could break easily. Let them think that, she thought. It was better this way. A tall figure approached her. This being had 4 arms and skin that looked like purple crystal. Its eyes were large and black, without any white parts. When it spoke, the translator device in Yuna's ear turned the sounds into words she could understand. You are the human. It was not a question. I am Instructor Tallow. I will be your guide during your first days here. Follow me. Tallow did not wait for her response. It simply turned and walked away, expecting her to follow. Yuna did, keeping her steps quick to match the instructor's long stride. As they walked through the academy grounds, Tallow explained things in a voice that sounded bored. The academy trained beings from across the galaxy for roles in interstellar cooperation. Diplomats, scientists, peacekeepers, traders. Students spent between 2 and 10 years here, depending on their species and their goals. Humans have been classified as an emerging species, Tallow said. You will be given special consideration. We understand that your kind is not adapted for many of the activities here. What kind of activities? Yuna asked. Physical training, combat assessment, survival exercises. Tallow glanced down at her with those large black eyes. Do not worry. We will make accommodations for your limitations. Yuna smiled politely. Thank you for your concern. They reached a building made of white stone. Tallow led her inside and up several floors to a room with 2 beds, 2 desks, and a large window that looked out over the floating gardens. Your roommate will arrive shortly, Tallow said. She is a Myvan. They are a gentle species. You should be compatible. After Tallow left, Yuna set her bag on one of the beds and sat down. The mattress was strange, shifting under her weight like it was alive. Maybe it was alive. She did not know what was normal here. She thought about what Tallow had said. Limitations, accommodations. The words did not make her angry. They made her want to laugh. But she kept her face still. On Earth, Yuna had been many things. A Hapkido black belt since age 16. A military combat instructor at 20. A survivor of the Bizen earthquake that killed 2,000 people when she was 14. She had pulled her younger brother from the rubble of their apartment building with her bare hands. Her fingers bleeding, her ribs cracked. Humans were not weak. They were simply quiet about their strength. The door opened, and her roommate entered. The Myvan was covered in soft lavender fur, with large round eyes and long ears that twitched when she moved. She was taller than Yuna, but seemed to take up less space, moving carefully like she was afraid of breaking something. "Hello," the Myvan said, her voice soft and musical. "I am Bara. You are the human." "I am Yuna. It is nice to meet you." Bara's ears twitched forward. "I have studied your species. I am a xenobiology student. Humans are fascinating." "Fascinating how?" "Your planet." Bora sat on her bed, tucking her legs beneath her. "Earth is classified as a Deathworld, Class 7. Do you know what that means?" Yuna shook her head, though she had some idea. "It means everything there is trying to kill you," Bora said. "The gravity is heavy. The air is full of particles that cause disease. Your water contains parasites. Your planet has, what is the word, earthquakes, volcanoes, storms that can destroy cities. And your animals." She shuddered, her fur rippling. "You have animals with teeth and claws that hunt and eat other animals. Some of them hunt humans." "That is true," Yuna said. "And yet you survive." Laura's eyes were wide with wonder. "Your species not only survives, but thrives. You build cities. You create art. You develop space travel. All while living on a planet that should have killed you millions of years ago." Yuna considered this. On Earth, she had never thought of her home as special. Dangerous, yes. Difficult, certainly. But it was just home. Hearing Bora describe it made her see things differently. "We adapt," she said finally. "That is what humans do. We find a way to survive, no matter what." Bora nodded slowly. "The other students do not understand this. They look at you and see a small, soft creature. They do not see what made you. What do you see?" Yuna asked. Bora was quiet for a moment. Her ears lay flat against her head. "I see something that frightens me," she admitted. "Not because you are cruel, but because you smile so gently while carrying so much danger inside you. It is like finding a flower that could become a fire." Yuna laughed softly. It was the first real laugh she had allowed herself since leaving Earth. "I think we will be good friends." Laura. Outside the window, the three suns were setting, painting the sky in colors that had no names in any human language. Somewhere in the academy, beings from 100 different worlds were living their lives. Unaware that something new had arrived among them, Yuna lay back on her strange, shifting bed and closed her eyes. Tomorrow, she would begin learning about this galaxy, and this galaxy would begin learning about humans. 2 weeks passed at the academy. Yuna learned the paths between buildings. She learned which foods her human body could digest and which would make her sick. She learned the names of species and the proper ways to greet them without causing offense. She also learned that she was being watched. Not just by the other students, though they stared at her constantly. There was a human man who appeared at the edges of her day, in the dining hall, near her classrooms, walking through the gardens when she took her evening walks. He was perhaps 30 years old, with a calm face and eyes that noticed everything. On the 15th day, he approached her. "You know who I am," he said. It was not a question. "Haniel," Yuna replied. "Earth Diplomatic Course. You are here to observe humanity's first student at the academy, to make sure I do not cause problems." Haniel smiled slightly. "To make sure problems do not happen to you. There's a difference." They walked together through a garden that floated 200 meters above the ground. Below them, students moved like colored dots between the crystal buildings. "The Korath are interested in you," Haniel said. "I know. Their leader here is named Dren. His father is a military commander. Dren believes he will one day rule their species. He does not like the idea of humans joining the galactic community. Yuna nodded. She had seen Dren many times. He was impossible to miss. 7 feet tall, with scales the color of dark iron. His arms had 3 joints instead of 2, and his hands ended in fingers like thick knives. When he walked, other students moved out of his way. He has been testing other species, Haniel continued. Pushing them. Hurting them. The instructors do nothing because his family has power. I have seen this, Yuna said. He will come for you eventually. I know. Haniel stopped walking and turned to face her. You trained for 6 years to be here. Combat, diplomacy, cultural studies. Earth chose you because you can handle anything. But I need to ask you directly. When Dren comes for you, what will you do? Yuna looked out over the floating garden. Small creatures with wings like jewels flew between the alien flowers. I will do what is necessary, she said. Nothing more. Haniel studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Earth is counting on you. I know. That evening, Yuna sat in the dining hall with Bora. The Maven ate something that looked like glowing soup while Yuna chewed on a protein bar she had, brought from Earth. The academy food was beautiful, but her body did not always agree with it. You are quiet today, Bora observed. I am thinking. About the Korath? Yuna raised an eyebrow. You notice everything. I am a scientist. Observation is my skill. Bora's ears twitched. Dren has been asking about you. Where you go. What classes you attend. What your physical abilities are. What did you tell him? Bora's fur rippled with something like embarrassment. I told him that humans are fragile creatures who cannot run fast or fight well. That you are here only for diplomatic training and pose no threat to anyone. Yuna smiled. That was kind of you. It was also true, yes? Humans are not known for physical strength. Yuna thought about her grandfather, who had worked in the steel mills of Pohang until he was 70 years old. She thought about her mother, who had carried her father down 12 flights of stairs after his heart attack. She thought about herself, pulling her brother from the earthquake rubble, her body screaming with pain, refusing to stop. Humans are not known for many things, she said simply. The dining hall fell quiet. Yuna did not need to turn around to know why. Dren walked between the tables with 4 other Korath behind him. They moved like they owned the space, and perhaps they did. No one challenged them. The Korath leader stopped directly in front of Yuna's table. The human, he said. His voice was deep, like stones grinding together. I have been curious about you. Yuna looked up at him. She kept her face polite and calm. Hello, I am Yuna. I know what you are. Dren leaned down, his face close to hers. His breath smelled like copper. You are from a Deathworld. Your people think this makes you special. I do not think I am special. Good, because you are not. Dren straightened up, looking around the silent dining hall. Everyone was watching. Your planet is a garbage dump at the edge of the galaxy. Your species learned to make fire only yesterday. You do not belong here. Yuna nodded thoughtfully. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Dren's eyes narrowed. He had expected fear, or anger, or pleading. He had not expected politeness. Do you have no pride? He demanded. Do you not defend yourself? You have said nothing that requires defense, Yuna replied. You have opinions. I have opinions. This is normal. For a long moment, Dren stared at her. His jaw muscles tightened. His fingers curled into fists. Then he laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You are a coward, he said. All humans must be cowards. You hide behind words because you cannot fight. He turned and walked away, his followers behind him. The noise in the dining hall slowly returned. Bora was staring at Yuna with wide eyes. Why did you not say anything? He insulted your entire species. Yuna took another bite of her protein bar. On Earth, we have a saying. The dog that barks the loudest is often the most afraid. I do not understand. Dren wanted me to react. He wanted me to show fear or anger. Either would give him power over me. Yuna finished her bar and stood up. I gave him nothing. Now he does not know what to do. But he will try again. He will not stop until he gets what he wants. Yes, Yuna agreed. He will try again. That night, Yuna could not sleep. She stood at the window of her room, looking out at the academy under the light of 2 moons. Bora had asked why she did not fight. The answer was complicated. On Earth, she had been trained to fight since she was 6 years old. She had learned to turn an attacker's strength against them. She had learned to strike at joints, at pressure points, at the weak places that every body possessed. She had learned that a small person could defeat a large person if they were fast enough and precise enough. She knew she could hurt Dren, perhaps badly, but hurting him would not help humanity. It would make them seem like violent primitives, exactly what species like the Korath already believed. She had to wait. She had to find the right moment. And when that moment came, she had to make it count. The Academy had announced that Combat Assessment Week would begin in 3 days. Every student would be required to demonstrate their species' defensive capabilities. Yuna had a feeling that her moment was coming soon. She closed her eyes and remembered her training. The years of practice. The thousands of repetitions. The way her body moved without thinking, faster than conscious thought. Dren thought she was weak because she was small. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The Combat Evaluation Arena was the largest building in the Academy. It rose from the ground like a mountain made of white stone and blue glass. Inside, the main chamber was a perfect circle, 200 meters wide. Seats climbed the walls in all directions, enough to hold 10,000 spectators. Today, those seats were full. Yuna sat in the waiting area with students from dozens of species. Some were nervous. Some were excited. A few were so calm they might have been sleeping. The combat assessments were designed to test reflexes and skill, not to cause real harm. Protective energy fields surrounded the arena floor. When a blow was about to cause serious injury, the field would absorb the impact, at least. That was how it was supposed to work. Instructor Talos stood in the center of the arena, explaining the rules to the crowd. Each student would face a training drone. The drone would attack, and the student would defend. The goal was to disable the drone as quickly as possible. This assessment is not about violence, Talo announced. It is about understanding how each species protects itself. We celebrate our differences here. We learn from each other. Yuna watched as student after student entered the arena. The tall, glass-skinned Valuri moved like dancers, graceful and precise. The Myvan, like Bora, used their flexibility to dodge and evade rather than fight. The heavy-bodied Gren used their thick hides to absorb blows, while crushing the drones with their massive hands. Then the Korath took their turns. Dren was the 5th of his kind to enter the arena. The crowd grew quiet as he walked to the center of the floor. His iron scales caught the light. His 3-jointed arms hung loose at his sides. The drone activated. It was a sphere of metal and light, armed with padded striking arms that could hit with significant force. Dren did not wait for it to attack. He launched himself forward with speed that seemed impossible for something so large. His fist connected with the drone before it could react. The machine flew across the arena and shattered against the far wall. Time, 0.8 seconds. The crowd erupted in cheers. The chorus section of the arena stomped their feet, making thunder. Dren raised his arms in victory and roared as he left the arena. He walked past the waiting area. His eyes found Yuna. "Watch carefully, human," he said. This is what real strength looks like. Yuna said nothing. She simply watched him go. An hour later, her name was called. She stood and walked toward the arena entrance. Bora was somewhere in the crowd, though Yuna could not see her. Haniel was there too, she knew. Watching. Waiting. The arena floor felt solid under her feet. The seats rose around her like walls of faces. Thousands of eyes stared down at her. The small human. The fragile mammal. The curiosity from the Deathworld. Instructor Tallow approached her. You may request a modified assessment if you prefer. Given your species' physical limitations, we can adjust the drone's speed and strength. That will not be necessary, Yuna said. Please use the standard settings. Tallow's crystal face showed no expression, but Yuna sensed surprise. Very well. The instructor retreated to the edge of the arena. Yuna stood alone in the center. The drone activated. It rose from a panel in the floor, its metal body humming with energy. Its padded arms extended, ready to strike. Its sensors locked onto Yuna's small form. It attacked. What happened next occurred too fast for most eyes to follow. The drone's first strike came from the left. Yuna was not there. She had moved before the arm began to swing, sliding to the right with a step that seemed to flow like water. The drone adjusted, striking from above. Yuna moved again, but this time she did not simply dodge. Her hand shot upward, fingers finding the gap between two armor plates. She twisted. The drone's arms separated from its body. The machine reacted, its remaining arms converging on her position. Yuna dropped low, beneath the attacks, and swept her leg against the drone's base. It was not enough force to topple the machine, but it destabilized its balance for a fraction of a second. That was all she needed. Yuna rose like a wave, her elbow driving into the drone's central sensor cluster. The impact was precise, hitting the exact point where the machine's processing core connected to its movement systems. The drone collapsed. Silence filled the arena. Yuna straightened up, breathing evenly. She was not tired. She was not even warm. Time, 1.3 seconds. Instructor Tallow stared at her. The crystal being's forearms hung motionless at their sides. There must be an error, Tallow said finally. The drone malfunctioned. We will run the assessment again. Another drone rose from the floor. It activated. It attacked. Yuna disabled it in 1.1 seconds. A third drone. 0.9 seconds. A fourth. 1.0 seconds. The crowd had gone completely silent. Not the excited silence before a great moment, but the stunned silence of beings whose understanding of the universe had suddenly shifted. Instructor Tallow raised one hand. Enough. The assessment is complete. Yuna bowed politely and walked toward the exit. As she passed the chorus section, she heard their silence too. No stomping. No cheering. Only the sound of beings reconsidering everything they thought they knew. Dren was waiting near the exit. He stepped into her path, blocking her way. His iron scales seemed darker than before, his eyes burning with something between anger and hunger. That was impressive, he said. His voice was quiet, meant only for her. For a mammal. Thank you. But drones are machines. They do not bleed. They do not fear. Fighting a machine proves nothing. Yuna looked up at him. He was more than twice her height. His arms were thick with muscle and armored with scales. His hands could crush stone. What are you suggesting? She asked. A live demonstration. Dren smiled, showing teeth like yellow daggers. Tomorrow? You and me. In front of everyone. Let us see if the human can fight a real opponent. Yuna considered this for a long moment. She thought about Haniel's words. Earth is counting on you. She thought about Bora's description. A planet that should have killed you millions of years ago. She thought about Dren, and others like him across the galaxy. Beings who looked at humans and saw prey, who would never respect humanity until humanity proved it demanded respect. "Very well," she said. "Tomorrow." Dren's smile widened. He stepped aside to let her pass Dot as Yuna walked back to her quarters. She felt strangely calm. Tomorrow, everyone would be watching. Tomorrow, the galaxy would see what a human could do. She was ready. She had been ready since she was 6 years old, standing in her grandfather's Hapkido school, learning that size was just a number and that true strength came from somewhere, much deeper. The Korra thought they were predators. They had never met a predator from Earth. The entire academy came to watch. Every seat in the combat evaluation arena was filled. Beings stood in the aisles, crowded the entrances, and hung from the support structures near the ceiling. Word had spread through the night like fire. The human girl had challenged the Korra champion. Or maybe the Korra champion had challenged the human girl. The details did not matter. What mattered was that everyone wanted to see. Yuna entered the arena from the east. She wore the simple training clothes provided by the academy. Loose pants, a fitted top, soft shoes. She had tied her black hair back from her face. She carried nothing else. Dren entered from the west. He wore the armor of his people, metal plates that covered his chest and arms, designed to work with his natural scales rather than replace them. He looked like a weapon that had learned to walk. Elder Voss floated in a viewing platform above the arena. The ancient being was rarely seen outside the council chambers. Its presence confirmed what everyone already knew. This match was important. Instructor Talos stood in the center of the arena floor, waiting for both fighters to approach. "This is a demonstration match," Talo announced. Their voice carried to every corner by the arena's sound system. First to 3 points wins. A point is scored by a clean strike or a successful takedown. There will be no lethal blows. The protective field is set to maximum strength. The match ends immediately upon submission. Talo looked at Yuna, then at Dren. "Do you both understand?" "Yes," Yuna said. Dren laughed. "Get on with it." Talo retreated to the edge of the arena. The crowd fell silent. Yuna and Dren faced each other across a distance of perhaps 5 meters. She looked up at him. He looked down at her. For a moment, neither moved. Then Dren began to circle. He moved with the confidence of someone who had never lost a fight. His massive feet made no sound on the arena floor. His 3-jointed arms swung loose and ready. His yellow eyes never left Yuna's face. "You are brave," he said as he walked. "Stupid, but brave. When this is over, I will tell the others that you face me with courage. It will be your legacy." Yuna did not respond. She stood perfectly still, her weight balanced equally on both feet. Her arms hung relaxed at her sides. Her eyes tracked Dren's movement without her head turning. "Nothing to say?" Dren continued. "No final words?" "On my world, warriors speak before battle. It is tradition." "On my world," Yuna said quietly, "we believe that actions are more honest than words." Dren laughed again. Then he attacked. His speed was incredible. In 2 steps he crossed the distance between them, his right arm sweeping in a blow that could shatter stone. The crowd gasped. Yuna was not there. She had moved the moment his weight shifted for the charge. A simple step to the left, nothing more. Dren's arm cut through empty air. He recovered quickly, turning and striking again. And again. And again. Each blow was faster than the last. Each blow hit nothing. Yuna flowed around his attacks like water around rocks. She did not block. She did not strike back. She simply moved, always a half step ahead of his fists. Dren grew frustrated. His attacks became wilder. His breathing grew heavy. The calm confidence on his face changed to confusion, then to anger. Fight me!" he roared. "Stop running and fight!" Yuna said nothing. She kept moving. The crowd began to murmur. They had come to see a battle. They were watching a dance. Finally, Dren stopped attacking. He stood in the center of the arena, his massive chest heaving, his scales dark with heat. "Coward," he spat. "Is this the best humans can do? Run and hide?" Yuna stopped moving. She stood 3 meters away from him, as calm as she had been at the start. "I am not running," she said. "I am waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For you to understand." Dren's eyes narrowed. Then he moved faster than before, closing the distance in a single stride. His left hand shot out and grabbed Yuna's right arm, just above the wrist. His fingers closed like metal clamps. The crowd held its breath. Dren smiled in triumph. His grip tightened, squeezing. The bones of her arm should have creaked under the pressure. The soft human flesh should have bruised and torn. Yuna did not cry out. She did not struggle. She moved. What happened next took less than half a second. Later, when the Academy's recording systems were analyzed, even slowed to 100 speed, some frames were still blurred by the speed of her movement. Yuna did not try to pull away from Dren's grip. Instead, she stepped toward him into the space his grab had created. Her left hand came up and clamped onto his wrist, just above where he held her. She locked his grip in place. Then her right arm rotated. The movement was small, precise, surgical. Her elbow twisted against the natural line of his arm, finding the joint where his scales were thinnest, where his 3-part arm was weakest. She drove her elbow upward. The sound that followed would haunt the dreams of everyone who heard it. A wet crack, like a tree branch breaking in a storm. The sound of something that was meant to bend one way being forced to bend the other. Dren's arm broke at the middle joint. The angle was wrong. The limb bent in a direction that no Karth arm should ever bend. For one frozen moment, both fighters stood still, locked together. Then Dren screamed. The sound filled the arena. It was not a warrior's roar. It was the cry of a creature in absolute shock and agony. He stumbled backward, clutching his ruined arm, his iron scales suddenly pale with pain. Yuna released him and stepped back. She bowed politely, as she had been taught to do after a match. The protective field had not activated. The blow had been too fast, too precise. The system had registered it as a continuation of Dren's own grab, not as an attack. By the time the sensors understood what had happened, it was already over. Total elapsed time from grab to break, 0.4 seconds. Instructor Tallow had not even blinked. The arena was silent. Thousands of beings stared at the impossible scene before them. The massive Karth warrior on his knees, cradling an arm that bent the wrong way. The small human girl, standing calmly, not even breathing hard. Yuna looked at Dren. Her voice was quiet. But in the silence, everyone heard. "On Earth," she said, "we do not grab people without permission." Medical personnel rushed onto the arena floor. They surrounded Dren, lifting him onto a floating stretcher. He was still making sounds, but they were quieter now. Broken whimpers that did not match his size or his former pride. As they carried him away, his eyes found Yuna one last time. There was no anger in them anymore, only something that looked very much like fear. The crowd began to stir. Whispers first, then murmurs, then a rising tide of voices. Some spoke in shock. Some spoke in outrage. Some spoke with a new emotion that they had not felt before when looking at a human. Respect. Yuna walked out of the arena. She did not look at the crowd. She did not pause to receive their reactions. She simply walked, step by step, until she was through the exit and out of sight. Behind her, the galaxy had changed. Humanity was no longer the weak newcomers. Humanity was something else entirely, and everyone had just watched it happen. The council chamber was a room of darkness and light. The walls were black stone, smooth and ancient. The only illumination came from the council members themselves. Elder Voss, who glowed with soft white energy, and 4 other beings whose forms produced their own light. Una stood in the center of the room. Alone, she had been summoned an hour after the match. 2 academy guards had escorted her here, though they kept their distance, watching her with new eyes. The small human who had broken a Karth warrior like a dry stick. Elder Voss floated forward from the other council members. Its mechanical frame hummed quietly. "We have reviewed the recording of your match," Voss said. The ancient being's voice had no emotion in it. 17 times. At multiple speeds. "We still do not fully understand what we witnessed." Una remained silent. "The protective field did not activate because your strike was too fast for our systems to recognize as an attack." Voss paused. "Our systems process events at 1,000th of a second intervals. Your movement was faster than that." "I apologize if I caused problems," Una said. "You have caused many things. Problems may be among them. But first, we need to understand." Voss moved closer. "How did you do it? How does a creature from a newly discovered species move faster than our technology can track?" Una thought for a moment before answering. "May I ask a question first?" "You may. When you look at Earth, what do you see?" Voss considered this. "A Class 7 Deathworld. High gravity. Dangerous atmosphere. Extreme weather patterns. Hostile wildlife. By our calculations, complex life should never have developed there. Yet, it did." "That is correct," Una said. "On Earth, everything tries to kill you. The animals, the weather, the ground itself. We evolved not to avoid danger, but to survive it, to adapt to it, to become faster and stronger than the things that hunted us." She took a breath. "I am not special among my people. I am a trained fighter, yes, but every human carries the same potential. We had to develop quick reactions because slow reactions meant death. We had to become precise because wasted energy meant starvation. We had to become stubborn because giving up meant extinction." Una met the elder's glowing gaze. "You asked how I did it. The answer is simple. I am human, and humans are what happens when a species refuses to die, no matter what the universe throws at us." The council was silent for a long moment. "You could have killed him," one of the other members said. "A being made of flowing silver. With that speed, that precision. You could have struck his throat, his heart, his brain. He would have been dead before he knew he was dying." "Yes," Una agreed. "I could have. Why did you not?" Una considered the question carefully. She thought about Dren, lying in the medical bay with his arm in a regeneration unit. She thought about his pride, his cruelty, the way he had bullied smaller species simply because he could. "Because strength without control is just destruction," she said. "I did not come here to destroy. I came here to represent my people, to show what humans can be. And what can humans be? Partners." Una's voice was steady. "Allies, friends. We can be the best friends you have ever had, if you give us the chance. We will work harder than anyone. We will fight for you when you need us. We will never abandon you." She paused. "But we will not be prey. We will not be victims. We will not be pushed aside because we are new or small or strange. If you try to hurt us, we will defend ourselves. And we are very, very good at defending ourselves." Elder Voss floated back to the other council members. They communicated in ways that Una could not perceive, flashes of light and energy that passed between them. Finally, Voss returned. "The council has made a decision. Humanity's classification is being changed. You are no longer listed as an emerging species. Yuna felt her heart beat faster. What are we being listed as? Strategic concern allied. Boss's voice seemed almost warm. It means we recognize that your species is potentially dangerous. But it also means we choose to stand beside you rather than against you. For the first time since arriving at the academy, Yuna smiled. Thank you. She was released from the council chamber an hour later. The academy's evening had arrived, the three suns setting beyond the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. Yuna walked to the gardens. She needed space. She needed quiet. She found a bench near a pool of water that glowed softly from within. She sat down and closed her eyes. The air was warm and smelled of flowers. May I join you? Yuna opened her eyes. Bora stood nearby, her lavender fur shining in the evening light. Her ears were low against her head, of course. Bora sat beside her. For a while, neither spoke. I was frightened, Bora admitted finally. When I watched you today. I have known you for weeks now. We share a room. We eat together. And I never knew. I never understood. Understood what? What you are. Bora looked at her with those large round eyes. You move through the world so gently. You speak so softly. You are kind to everyone, even those who do not deserve it. And then today, I saw a monster? Yuna asked quietly. No. Bora's ears rose slightly. I saw someone who could be a monster, but chooses not to be. That is not frightening. That is beautiful in a strange way. Yuna felt something warm in her chest. Thank you, Bora. They sat together as the light faded. Stars began to appear in the alien sky, different patterns than Yuna had grown up seeing, but stars nonetheless. Footsteps approached. Heavy footsteps, accompanied by the click of scales on stone. Yuna turned to see Dren, walking toward them. His arm was wrapped in a regeneration cast, a sleeve of blue light that covered him from shoulder to fingertips. His face was pale, the yellow of his eyes dimmer than before. He walked slowly, like someone who had forgotten how to move with confidence. Bora stood up quickly, fear plain on her face. But Yuna remained seated. Dren stopped in front of her. He was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly and carefully, he lowered himself to one knee. He bowed his head until his chin nearly touched his chest. Was the Korath gesture of respect, the acknowledgement of a superior warrior. You defeated me, Dren said. His voice was rough. In front of everyone. You showed me that everything I believed about my own strength was wrong. Yuna waited. On my world, when a warrior is defeated like this, they have two choices. They can fight until they die, or they can serve the one who defeated them. Dren looked up at her. I do not want to die. So I ask you, will you teach me? The question hung in the air. Why Yuna thought about the path that had brought her here. The years of training. The pain and discipline. The earthquake that had taken so much and taught her so much more. She thought about what it meant to be human, to carry both gentleness and strength in the same heart. I will teach you, she said. But you must understand something first. What? The lesson is not about how to fight. Yuna stood up, looking down at the kneeling Korath. The lesson is about when to fight. And more importantly, when not to. Dren nodded slowly. I will learn. Yuna extended her hand. After a moment, Dren took it with his uninjured arm, and she helped him to his feet. First lesson, she said. Never grab someone from a Deathworld. Now sit with us. Tell me about your home. They sat together as the night deepened. Three beings from three different worlds, watching the stars and talking. Behind them, the academy rose in towers of crystal and stone, filled with thousands of species who were all, in their own ways, learning to understand each other. And far away, on a blue planet at the edge of the galaxy, A world of earthquakes and storms and predators and survivors continued to turn. Earth was not the most advanced world in the galaxy. It was not the most powerful or the most peaceful or most beautiful. But its children were out there now, among the stars, showing the universe what happened when a species refused to give up, showing them what it meant to be human.